It is after 7 o'clock, so I guess we will call the meeting to order. Contacted Gary several times by email over the last week and a half, some of which while I was in California. He had no items or information to pass on to the board, so I don't have any either at this time, so we really don't have any president's remarks. We have the agenda as in front of you. However, we only have currently 3 board members present, so that means we can't really conduct any business as such this evening, but we can still run through information. Any questions or comments or adjustments to the agenda? And we'll move on to public comment. Anything from the floor?
Questions? Questions, comments, okay? What's happened with striping? They did some and they're not finished, or are they gonna finish?
That's all they're doing. They've done it. They've done what's
That's
going to
done?
be done.
Yeah, they did some
You're not gonna stripe some of those roads?
Gary and others decided that the stop bars were important to do, which
The
they
white
did.
stripes for the stop are there.
Correct. And they did a double line on Lake, down to the freeway stop, and then up on
Yeah, I know
Harbor.
what they did, but I
and
know
then
that there's a
on-
lot they didn't do.
Right,
A lot of the resurfaced roads were not striped.
chose not to do that.
Why?
Money, I imagine, because of the budget.
When the budget gets approved, will it be done?
No,
Not,
there's no more.
not scheduled right now, no.
Okay. And what about road edge clearing?
That, once the budget is approved, then, because the board approved Carl Bowen's contract of 15 or 16,000, which is what it was a few years ago when he did it. So that was approved, I believe in July, I want to say, or August. But then we didn't have a budget to go forth with, and it's a $15,000, $16,000 amount. So once that budget is approved in September, then Carl can go ahead and come and do it. He's done a few
I gotta tell you,
places.
this community looks like hell.
Oh,
It really
Well, it's
looks
kind of
like
hard
hell.
to spend 16,000, I think, is the thinking, when you don't have an approved budget. We did have, Gary did have Carl come in and do 5 or 6 areas that were especially bad. So,
Well, there's
and that
some
will be
bad- there's some
folded
bad
into
ones
the
that
main
I'm-
contract.
With the board's permission or somebody's permission, there's some bad ones that I'm gonna do. There's, you know Dave Forst's house, you know where Dave Forst's house is at the bend?
Mhm.
It's a blind corner. It's 6 foot out with high stuff, you can't see around the bend. With the board's approval, I'm going down and do it. Is there any problem? Okay.
I
I
don't
don't
think
hear
we
anybody
have
saying
ever turned away volunteers going
Right.
and
Right.
doing community work
Is
of
that,
that
is that
nature.
some sort of a problem with liability? Is that why
No,
Ann's coming?
I'm not gonna hold anybody responsible, I'm just going down there with some clippers and take it out.
The
I'm
only
looking
other
at Peter raising his hand as well.
Well, I just have
The only other possibility that I can think of would be discretionary funds for emergency spots like blind corners and such,
Right,
separate from the contract we've already let out to Carl Bowen
right.
under the president's authority, but unfortunately Gary is not coming back until the 18th, I believe it is.
I think later than that, just before the
So-
membership meeting.
So we would
Maybe
have to,
January.
we would have to contact him.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know whether that power falls to me as the vice president in
Oh,
his
I can send
absence
him an
or
email.
not,
I
but
can send him
I
an
mean,
email.
certainly if that does fall to me in his absence, then I would authorize the discretionary funds up to the legal amount, and based on what we have available, take care of safety hazards of that nature. And otherwise, we'll have to contact him, or wait until we can get
Right,
at least
right.
5 board members to approve that kind of thing.
I will say there's no additional money in the budget this year beyond last year, even for this kind of work. They did not expand the budget.
Well,
Our income is
somebody just
expanding.
said that they, as soon as the budget is approved, 16,000.
That budget doesn't contain any additional money for those types, for any types of things beyond what it was last year.
The money will be budgeted from shore funds and from covenant fees, I believe. I have to look to be sure, but that's where it's split out between those two. Nothing to do with the STD, so we don't have to worry about the $15,000 limit and splitting it up. It's shore funds and DPPOA.
Yeah, but there isn't $16,000 even in those two accounts, even in the new budget. There's hardly anything in the old budget. So there's no money, there is not $16,000 in those two funds to pay for that contract.
Between the two, there is.
No,
Okay. Okay.
there's only $13,000 worth of tree trimming in there.
Okay.
And they signed a $16,000 contract.
Okay.
We'll take that up with the treasurer when she gets back. Any other?
Where is she?
I don't know, she just said she wasn't able to make it tonight.
You're not going to approve the minutes, right? Because you
We
can't.
don't have a quorum for the board,
Then
so.
I have no comment.
So, I mean, if you have some comment based on the minutes from the previous meeting, we can take that information.
Well, I mentioned to Rita an item from the previous minute, which was that the board said that there was no committee membership required by the board members except in finance.
Say that another way.
No,
There's no committee membership requirement.
in the committees
No
except for
board
the finance.
required.
Board membership.
Yeah, no, ours says there will be a board member in all the committees, not necessarily the chair,
In all committees?
all committees.
Okay. Because during the minutes, the video said something different.
Well, they quite often say things they don't understand.
No, the video, I'm sorry.
Video from a past meeting,
Yes,
yes, quite often they say things they don't understand. It's either a bylaw or policies and procedures, I know.
well, you were part of that meeting,
I didn't say that.
and the question was, is there any other finance committee besides the finance committee that requires a board member? And nobody said yes. But the safety committee does require
Because,
because that's the way it was voted.
well, it's a bylaw that they have to have.
Okay, well, you didn't respond, nobody responded to that, so I wanted just to correct that.
Well, there would be bylaws plus any other decisions that the board may have self-imposed above and beyond the minimum requirements of the bylaws. But that would be something that the board president and the office manager could go back and verify.
Peter, are you saying the minutes themselves are incorrect, or just that video? of
The
facts?
video.
Okay.
The video were, I watched the question was asked by Gary, are there any other committee? No. Somebody asked Gary whether there are any other committees, because you were approving the committee memberships,
Right.
right? And so, was there any other boards? I didn't see the list of committee members. That's the only thing, it's not a big deal, it's just, I want to be sure that the safety committee does have a board member on it, that's the only issue.
I guess you
I think it does.
You could verify that, just so we're sure we're covered on
Another question? Another question?
that. Sure.
With no money for the roads, is there money for the work that's gonna be done on this building?
There's a minimal amount, $2,600. I don't know what they
$600 to do all the things?
$2,600.
26, to do all the things that are listed in that
That's what they
the
passed.
newsletter?
In June, I had $5,600 in there, but now there's only $2,600 to do it, so. I don't even know what they're planning to do.
It's very clear in the newsletter as to what they plan to do here.
I figure they can do it for $2,600.
Is that the estimate for the
That's
work?
what's in the budget. Yeah, Gary has been checking out prices. He's gotten prices for spray insulation and,
Taking up that rug and replacing it
not
with
this
wood?
one, just in the back.
In the back over here?
Mhm.
That's
Well,
all?
there'll be some volunteer
That
time,
was-
I think, in there too. It's not
Okay.
gonna,
All right.
you know.
Article 8, subsection 4. At least one board member shall serve and vote in all committees excepting any election committee. The board may appoint any committee member as the chairperson.
May,
There's no question about it, it's by law.
may appoint? Does that mean must, or I'm just asking? Does that mean must?
Does it say may?
You read may.
I don't know if it said may. May appoint any committee member as the chairperson. That's what
It's
it
not
said.
required to.
It's not required that a board member chair every committee, but it does say that there must be a board member on
On
that
every
committee.
committee.
And I think that we have that, but if you could just look through the list, just to be sure that we didn't accidentally blink the last time. Okay, so, approval of minutes, we cannot do without a quorum of the board, so that will have to be deferred to the next meeting. So that takes us to office update.
Okay, property taxes are due, and our total this year is $1,885.93, and that is divided between this house and the lots, and the taxes for this property are $1,706.08, and for the 46 additional lots that we own, $179.85.
Going
Remembering
down.
that our 46 lots are in green space, which is why it's so low. It's gone down a little bit.
It's going, I've seen a lot of property assessed,
179,
tax
85.
bills this year are going down.
I think mine went down.
And I can't figure out why, the assessments should have stayed the same or gone up,
Why?
because that's how the 3-year
It's
cycle
a
works.
3-year assessment.
But the commissioners have decided that they're gonna reduce the rate, and they did.
They didn't use the rate, they didn't change the rate in 30 years.
Well, they changed the
The value of the assessment.
value of the property, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I was surprised, is
Yeah.
that anybody bothered to evaluate them low. I mean, the newspaper says the economy's recovering.
The newspaper
Well,
said
the
that?
newspaper and the government say a lot of things.
And the realtors say that, the sales are, so I don't know, I'm surprised it went down. But that is-
Anything else for the office update?
Yep, the newsletter, as we all know, was mailed Friday, August 29th. And the newsletter and the full DPPOA budget have been posted on our website, as per the newsletter stating. I also have budgets on my desk if anybody wants to come in and pick up a full copy of the budget. The audit took place Tuesday, August 26th. Andrew Martin of Toll Griffith and Regula was here from 11 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, gathering more documents and so on. And that's it.
Have they given you a report?
Not yet. But he knows it has to be here in time for the general membership meeting. Sometimes it comes in the day of, and I print it from an email attachment, so that's it.
Okay. So next is round table. So I guess we'll start over there with you, Max. You have anything to bring forward?
I only want to bring forward and express my complete disappointment with this budget that was brought forward by this board. I completely disassociate myself with it. I'm disappointed that it was published in the newspaper without even the slightest corrections that I indicated to the board.
Fran, anything?
I got to look at the budget. I'm learning how to read a budget, and some help from my husband, I think they understand it.
Okay, the only comment that I would make is that the budget was presented to the board as a body, and the board as a body did approve it. So that is why it went out. And so I would expect that the board as a body would then stand behind what the board as a body voted and approved. And that will be presented by the president and treasurer to the community at the September general membership meeting for their approval. So, committee reports, did Jeff provide you with any information?
No, there's really nothing going on at the moment. Just said
Okay.
the striping has been done.
So, we do not have Jeff McDonald here, we do not have Gary Heel for the Roads Committee, and as I said, he did not give me any information to bring to this meeting. We do not have the Treasurer, Amy Rispin, for the Finance Committee or the Environmental Committee, and we do not have Gary for the Planning Committee, so that brings us down to the Safety Committee.
Yay, at least somebody's. Well, I reviewed the meeting last, in August, the August board meeting video, and I was happy to see that there is some improvement on the safety of the beach. And it looks like that we have mitigated to a degree the disruptions or vandalism. That's what I got out of the board video. And I haven't heard any serious incidents down there, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the signage and the video and the increased police seems to be having a positive impact at relatively minor cost. I think our total cost was around $1,200 and that's an investment which will not have to be renewed every year since it was purchase primarily of equipment. 90% of it was equipment. So I was very happy to hear about it. I've been gone all summer, but I've been in touch and thank the board for their support on this. And any further additions, we can proceed and work in conjunction with the Drum Point Club to try to keep going in that direction. So that's all I have to say.
Do you have any comments or anything from the Drum Point Club about this affair, about joining us, helping us, coordinating with us, anything?
Nothing new, Max. I haven't heard anything new. I've been away all summer, so I haven't been in touch with the club. Anybody else have any?
Max, look to your left.
Well, she's not on the board
No, I'm not on board.
Fran's a member, Max?
You're not on the board anymore?
No,
Oh, no?
she's not on the board.
I served my time.
Oh, you sure did, and you
That's
did a great
fine.
job.
She's done her
Stop
job.
smoking.
But my understanding of the Drum Point Club is it's trying to get its board together and having a difficult time trying to figure out what their budget's going to be. And, that's a big burden right now. I don't know how much they've gone beyond that in trying to initiate new safety measures. That's my impression. But I may hear from Amy because she's very active in that joint committee. I think you're on that joint committee too, aren't you, Fran? Is anybody here? No, nobody else is on? Okay, well, we'll just wait and see.
Okay,
Mayor,
yes.
if I could back up just for a minute, for the environmental committee, I guess, Kurt Larson did send these pictures to all the board members of the bylaws that were installed on the empty lot, basically across from where Leeson Cove comes out onto Rousby Hall Road. There are a couple of empty lots, and biologs were installed there, and that's to try to slow down the flow of sediment that goes across Leeson Cove, into the cove, and is sludging or what have you. What's it, you know.
The
So-
state did that?
No, SCLT? Well, no, it was sort of a joint effort, I think, with this board and SCLT. And Kurt, I'm not sure where he secured those bylaws from.
Yeah, no,
But it was
never
through, I
separated
think,
them
I think through his contacts with SCLT.
Okay.
I remember we talked about that at a
Yeah,
previous
so-
board meeting. It wasn't a DPPOA expense
No, there was no
involved in
expense at
getting
all.
that stuff installed.
But I can post these pictures on the website too, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't purchase them either, they just got them from whoever some of
Right.
their sources are.
So that's it. I just thought we should know that.
Okay, do we have any old business hanging from previous meetings that we need to finish up?
No.
Well, we can't anyway.
Well, this is true. We can't actually do business with only the three of us. So, any new business that needs to get added in to be carried forward to the next meeting? Okay. Then I guess we need to schedule the next meeting. Now, let's see, I have a calendar in front of me here. Let's take a look at the calendar and when the general membership meeting is scheduled, and see whether we need to try to do a abbreviated board meeting and final preps for that.
The membership meeting is the 24th, Wednesday evening. It's a messy calendar.
Okay, so this is the second. So Gary is still gonna be out of town on the 16th. So really the only opportunity would be the 23rd if anything comes up prior to the general membership meeting on the 24th. So I suppose we can tentatively schedule an abbreviated meeting if it's necessary on the 23rd. But final verification on whether that meeting will actually take place will be sent out the weekend prior to, so over the weekend of the 19, 20, 21, 22 will be when the verification, if we actually need that meeting, based on whether anything comes in to the office that the board needs to act on or prepare for prior to the general membership meeting.
You want to schedule the October meeting or something?
And the October meeting, the first Tuesday would be October the 7th. So I guess we will tentatively follow the normal format of the first Tuesday of the month and say that the October meeting will be scheduled for the 7th, barring a majority of the board coming in with information that they can't make it and we need to reschedule it.
Okay.
So tentative for 9/23 if needed, and then 10/07 for October.
Where's the general membership meeting?
It's at the Drum Point Club,
The club?
Wednesday evening,
At the Drum Point Club, Wednesday evening, the 24th,
7
and
o'clock.
starting at 7 o'clock. Okay, so that brings us back to public comment again.
I'd like to make a couple of comments. I'm very disappointed with this board. Dwayne Heideman's truck is sitting in his driveway and he's here. Larry Rich is in town all day because I saw him smile today. He's not out of town. Kurt Larson was at a meeting this afternoon with my wife. My wife ended the meeting, came around the corner as I was coming in. He could be here if he wanted to be here. I am stating outright, I believe this board has gone non-functional. Amy has no desire to come here. She hasn't been to her house in weeks. I don't know what her excuse is for this meeting, but this board is not functioning.
May I just say that Amy's husband had heart surgery over this past couple of months? I
That's
just
a
wanted
legitimate
to
excuse,
interject that.
okay? I didn't know that. But I don't know about some of the others.
I saw Larry the day before yesterday, and he said he was coming. So I don't
Not here.
But Larry comes and goes at these meetings. He's been here and not been here.
You want to be on the board, you're supposed to attend the meetings.
Kurt, I don't know.
They're at the volunteer meeting for the museum tonight.
Huh?
They're at the volunteer meeting and dinner for the museum tonight.
It's over.
So
My wife cooked for it, cleaned up, the meeting was over, and she came by here as I was coming in the door. The meeting was over.
Even Sherman hadn't come home yet, so they must be doing something else, I don't know.
Okay? This community
But it was
does
a
not,
choice.
this community does not look good. it's looking piss poor as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen it look this bad. My comments conclude.
I'd like to echo some comments there too as a resident. I've received several phone calls from people about the new budget that's been, they don't understand it. They don't understand some of the things that are wrong with it. This recent finance committee and the board did not approve to spend any more money than they spent in the past for anything for the community. They boosted the legal fees to $20,000 to try and cover their butts. And they approved and have not executed a $16,000 tree trimming contract, which they didn't have a budget for. And they absolutely refused to put the $16,000 into the budget.
And it's badly needed.
That and probably a lot more work, but they did not expend any other work beyond what the so-called minimal spending has been for the past 2 or 3 years, even though we've got money coming into the treasury. And starting next spring, we'll have over $300,000 additional coming into this. They are not doing any long-range planning. There are no projects planned for this year. They've already expended $71,000 out of the $91,000 of this year's STD funds for capital, so there will be no work done this year either. I'm joining you in your expression. I'm sorry I'm on the board, but I ain't quitting.
Okay.
And a long-term member of the board and the road committee that I worked with for many years, Bobby Patterson, has sold his house
Has
and
sold it?
moving to North Carolina.
North Carolina, last I heard it was Florida.
No,
Now
he
he's
told
now
me,
South
he
Carolina.
told me
Okay.
today, he's
I knew
down
he
in
was
North
selling.
Carolina looking for a house.
I know he was selling.
No.
I have a comment. I think our community looks very good. To say that it looks awful, I think you mean in a functional sense.
No,
You think it looks terrible driving around? Okay.
yes,
I don't see that.
okay.
You need to drive on more of the streets, the back streets and things that are not the main
Are you
traffic.
assuming I haven't driven those?
Well, use things you haven't seen, so I'm just suggesting.
No, I haven't seen what he's indicated.
Well, I have right there on Harbor, that stupid bush that's right there on the corner of Harbor and Mill Creek is a big blind thing
I
too.
suggest you drive around Drum Point and the Chesapeake Bay, Chesapeake Ranch Estates if you want a comparison.
Well, I don't have to compare to them, I just compare to
Well,
ours.
Ours used to look like they did, and so we're still in very, very good shape, I think.
We're in very good shape, but we could be in much better shape.
But to say that we're looking terrible, I think it's an overstatement.
Then I don't think you've ridden around the roads that I ride around in, okay?
Anyway,
No matter, almost every road that I drive, and I know my truck is tall and it has an antenna for the, my antenna is constantly hitting trees that are hanging out over the road.
well, lower your antenna then.
Because they're lower. But it's typical because it also means that there's blind spots.
Okay, I agree, there may be some safety issues, absolutely, but to characterize the whole community as being looking terrible, I think is an exaggeration. The other thing is.
I know.
All right, well, you and I can agree on certain things, no problem.
And you said you had one more thing?
One more comment, yeah. I think that, that we've got to pull together as a team. I don't like the idea of Larry telling me that members want to sue each other, and Larry's spreading that word around, and that reminds me of a membership that we had before, where we had lawsuits going on within the board membership. And, you know, to me, community works better when there's peace in the valley. And I think this idea that the board members can sue each other for what they're doing, either you get on board or you don't get on board, but there's a democracy. It would be, you know, it's like the Republicans trying to sue Obama. I mean, it becomes pretty pointless when that spreads around the community. I would hope we could step beyond that and pull together. There are disagreements, but for one person to say that everybody else is stupid and don't know what they're talking about, you know, you can't do that. You have a majority of people, you have a lot of smart people on the board, everybody present included, and to say that, you know, I'm the only one who knows how to do this, as opposed to taking the opinions of 3, 4, 5 other people. It just, you know, you gotta go with the flow if you're gonna run a democratic system. So I would hope we could avoid this idea where Larry Rich is telling me that some board members are threatening of suing other board members when they were all collective decisions anyway. The board makes a collective decision and it goes by its collective decisions. But you can't start having a committee or a board member suing each other for the things they disagree with. It becomes non-functional. So I just want to point that out. Say I hope we can get beyond that. We're all neighbors, we all have to get together. Let's try to do that.
I agree.
Okay, thank you for your comments and observations. My last item would be to ask the manager to pass on to the board members who were not present this evening that they should view the video so that they can hear the discussions that took place at this meeting and be brought up to speed on some of the community concerns and observations and the wonderment of why some of them were not able to be present so that we could have a quorum at least for this meeting. And barring that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.